What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Stack. I'm Alex.
Bonesaw is ready.
I'm Pete.
And on The Stack, we talk about a bunch of books that have come out this week, and we review them. And oh boy, all the comics came out this week.
Oh
so
boy.
get ready.
This is the week. Today's
Hang
the
in
day.
there. Today is the day that...
In your face, Ash Ketchum. We actually collected them all.
Forget about Ash Ketchum. Let's talk about another animated character with DC X Sonic the Hedgehog. #1 from DC Comics and Sega, written by Ian Flynn, art by Adam Bryce Thomas. Per the title, this is mixing together the two universes. Does this peanut butter blend with this chocolate? What do you guys think?
Ooh, peanut butter and chocolate sounds delicious. I tell you what, it's worth it for the Shadow Batman team up alone. I thought this was fun. I thought the art really kind of matched this in a nice way. Yeah, you think it's going to be what you're going to get, and you get what you think, and it's nice.
That's really nice. That's a nice positive vibe. Now, Pete, let me ask you about that, because I was going to highlight this particular scene between Shadow and Batman. How much did you know about Shadow, the hedgehog?
Well, of course, if you watch
Sonic friend hedgehog.
Well, if you watch the latest movie, Shadow's in there, Keanu Reeves. So when you hear the dialogue, it's like Keanu Reeves is talking to Michael Keaton. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool.
Well, let me say, just in this, you hear Michael Keaton when you read this comic?
That's right.
Whenever you read a Batman comic, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
And you have to pay him for that, right? You have to pay him specifically?
No, he just lives in my head.
Free.
Dude, does he call you up and read the issue to you? Because that would be nice.
No. I mean,
But
it
he
was
does
Kevin
it
Conroy for a long time. You know what I mean?
The weird part is Michael Keaton does it in the Beetlejuice voice, so it's very confusing.
I just wanted to highlight a line from Shadow, who is a hedgehog.
Right.
A cute hedgehog, but like all dressed in black.
A darker, you know what I mean? Like a more kind of like emo hedgehog, but okay.
Batman says to this hedgehog, that pain, that anger never leaves you. And Shadow briefly pauses and says, her name was Maria. She was gunned down by the military while trying to keep me safe.
Yep.
That's this hedgehog's partner. Maria was gunned down.
Right.
By the military.
Hey, listen, it doesn't just because you're cute and fuzzy doesn't mean you're, averse to pain and real life consequences. You know what I mean?
I will say, pretty famously, Shadow has a crazy dark origin story.
Yep.
As somebody who enjoys seeing the Sonic movies, I don't really know the games very well, but if you are at that level of you've seen the Sonic movies, you kind of get what's going on here. I thought this was a really good crossover, mostly because it cut through all of the treacle that you usually get in terms of like, how do we get these two worlds together?
Yes.
It's this puzzle I could never figure out. And they're like, no, they're just there, and let's move forward. If you don't know who the Sonic characters are, in a couple short panels, here's who they are. If you don't know who the Justice League characters are, here's who they are. And then they're just kind of going from there and having a fun, good time. I thought this was great, particularly for something that ostensibly is launching a clothing line, to have a really fun crossover for a writer-artist team that clearly cares about both sides of these characters. I thought was pretty good.
Are you saying that I can buy a Batman Shadow clothes? Is that what you're saying?
Clothes. You can have a Batman Shadow suit, 3-piece suit for you.
I want a Shadow Batman clothes.
You haven't made one of those for yourself, Pete?
Maybe.
Pete, can you describe the type of clothing you look to purchase from this clothing line? Just real quick. What are we talking about here? Performance fleece?
I just want some hoodies. You know what I mean?
You're going to get all of that. They're making shoes. They're making T-shirts. They have mashup things. I assume this is going to happen in a later issue where, like, they get amalgam universe, so they get jammed together. So all of that stuff is happening. And Pete, you can buy to your heart's content.
Do you think there'd be like an all black T-shirt with maybe a tombstone on that says Maria in bloody letters? You know what I mean?
No, I don't think they'll be doing that. A bloody Maria tombstone next to like the Waynes or something like that.
That would be cool.
Strewn everywhere.
And I would want to make sure that is hedgehog blood on the tombstone, because remember,
no, she's
Maria
a human.
isn't.
She's a human.
Yeah, Maria's human, dude.
He dated a human.
No. They were friends.
Yeah, they were friends.
Oh, okay.
You've never been friends with like a Muppet or anything before, dude? Come on.
What do you mean?
No, we don't have to. We have too many
lived in
books
New York
to talk
City,
about.
dude.
I've dated a lot of
Sesame Street's
Muppets.
just down the road from New York, dude.
I've hooked up with a lot of Muppets. I've never actually had a long-standing friendship with a Muppet.
Okay.
And also, I don't think the hedgehogs are technically Muppets. I will say, to your point, Alex, I did like this, and I like that they just cut to the Flash versus Sonic race pretty early on.
Real quick question before we move on. When a Muppet is giving you a blowjob, is it actually a hand job?
Oh, interesting.
Pete? That was a question specifically for Pete.
Yeah, that was
Don't
for
ask
you.
me. Don't ask me, bro.
And the answer is yes.
Okay, and moving on to One World Under Doom, #2 from Marvel, written by
And
Ryan.
shouts to our kid listeners out there. From Alex to you, we say shout out.
Usually we save this stuff for the second half of the podcast when everybody's definitely tuned out.
Let us know when the second half starts, by the way. I look forward to it. It's a ways off, I bet.
One World Under Doom, #2 from Marvel, written by Ryan North, art by R.B. Silva. Doom has taken over the world, and in this issue, the Fantastic Four is coming for him for the crime of opening the borders and giving free school for all. I like this team. Continue to feel very weird about this book. Ooh. How are you guys feeling?
Now, is that because you have a daughter, and if that daughter was hanging out with Doom, you would have a real problem with that? Is that why you're...
No, because...
You feel like daughters shouldn't do secret stuff? You know what I mean?
You're getting very weird about this. There is a great scene that Ryan North gets right to of Valeria confronting Dr. Doom and being like, just tell me what you're up to. What's going on here? What is the actual plan? And he kind of tells her what the actual plan is, which is like, yeah, if I save the world, everybody's going to love me. So that's what I figured out. So that's what I'm going to do. And there might be more to it, but right now... Doom being good. I'm glad they had the conversation at the top of this book about democracy versus fascism. You kind of get cut off before the end of the conversation, but I think that was worth it. But it's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable, the position the heroes are in, but they're being real dicks throughout this entire event.
Yeah, they are.
Well, that's the thing is, like, we talked about this a lot in our Invincible podcast this past season that just finished airing, where, like, technically the Fantastic Four here are sort of wrong. They're like, Doom somehow got all of the world leaders to agree to give him power. They don't know why, but they're like, this can't be right. And so they keep attacking him, the Avengers, Fantastic Four, and it's sort of like, well, just gotta investigate a little bit here before you start doing that. I think we the readers are taken away from this book, where the heroes are sort of being rash and understood they have a bad history with Doom. But I agree with you, Alex. The scene between Valeria and Doom was great. And like the fact that this was a Jonathan Hickman idea that Valeria and Doom are friends, they're close, he's her godfather, and they have like a real peer style relationship, which is awesome. Honestly, it feels like it's better than the Reed Doom rivalry in the modern sort of Fantastic Four Doom relationship slash battle. So like, I love that that's getting service here. I'm ready. I think we can move past this idea because I think the real world stuff is gumming it up. To your point, where it's like, oh, this is stressful because Doom is doing good things, but they're a little too adjacent to our real world issues that it makes it stressful. And the heroes are like, I'll get you, Doom. And it's like, wait, I want that Doom stuff. So I don't know. It is an interesting confluence of world events and a comic. I love Ryan North. I think the art in here is very good. We get Ben Grimm transformed back into his non-Rocky self, something that gets given and taken away a lot in comicdom. And it feels like this may be Doom's downfall, where he's going to slowly start taking heroes off the table by sort of monkey pawing their wishes. And that might be the way they find him doing wrong.
Well, I think this is an interesting book. There's a lot of cool ideas floating around here. I did think the one panel where Doom was like, "That was weird. I just walked right past security," and she was like, "Oh yeah, I put you under as family, so you can walk in and out anytime you want." And I was like, "Oh my God, don't tell Doom that."
Sorry, just to clarify about that. So first of all, he is not her uncle, but I think like her godfather.
Godfather, yeah.
And she, I believe, made the censors think he was their dog Princess. So that's what was going on there. Not that she was just like, it's family, you're fine.
Princess the Pooch.
Yeah, Princess the Pooch.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just trying to clarify.
That's all you have to say.
When I read it, it seemed like she was saying he was more family.
Yeah. No, he is family.
She considers him family, and he is.
Yes.
Does that bother you?
I have a bigger problem with the fact that Doctor Doom is wearing his whole Doctor Doom thing and then also a Sorcerer Supreme cape on top of that. That seems like...
A hat on a hat?
It seems almost literally. It's like a cape on a cape. It's kind
of, but I mean, he's, Sorcerer Supreme. You got to showcase that. You know what I mean? You can't take off a cape.
I guess when we're talking about like a Supreme pizza, that's a lot of meats on there, so it's the same sort of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I consider pepperoni and sausage to be a cape, a pizza cape.
ThunderCats Lost, #1 from Dynamite, written by Ed Brisson, art by Rapha Lobosco. This is focusing on a group of new Thundercats who are stuck behind enemy lines. Think kind of like, oh my God, what is it? Hogan's Heroes or something like that.
Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah, make a reference from the 40s. That'll be cool.
I was thinking about something else, but also equally dusty meets Suicide Squad is what I was going to say. Except with large cat people.
Suicide Squad.
Am I wrong? It kind of is.
I just wondered, you're losing people on, you're saying something modern and then something that's like from the 40s.
All right, it's like...
Well, we're talking about a comic based on a cartoon from the 80s.
For sure. Yes, it's like TikTok meets Ariana Grande. I don't know. Those are more current.
Oh, okay.
Good. That'd be great for our SEO.
It's Old Testament meets Shakira.
Good. I really like this. I feel like while the naming of these Thundercats, which are like Pumira, and it's like, it's okay. We don't have to name them all after cats. They can just be regular names. Pew. Was like a little bit fun. It's funny that naming convention is a core Thundercats idea. I really like this new team. I like the way this was positioned, where they're sort of in a like Black Hawk Down type situation. The most topical reference so far, and that one's probably 20 years old. Is interesting, and following them. Given the Thundercats main title, huge selling book, good book, but has been a little bit bogged down in sort of a like, what is happening? It feels like the mystery is swirling. This feels a little bit more straightforward. So like, I like this as a new book.
I agree. This is a great #1. I think it's a little bit darker than the Thundercats we're used to, which is a nice kind of new thing. And yeah, I enjoyed this. It's nice to be chilling with some new Thundercats. You don't have to deal with Schnarf all the time.
Yeah, where's the new Schnarf? Was there like a sneef or a scribbler?
But yeah, this is I'm enjoying this, and the art's great. It's like a little different, but like the same. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Everything I like.
Mm-hmm.
G.I. Joe #5 from Skybound and Image Comics, written by Joshua Williamson, art by Tom Reilly. Last issue, our team had been captured by Cobra. Will they get out? Yes.
Ah, dude, spoilers, bro. Oh, come on, bro.
I mean, we know they are, but the fun of this issue is seeing how they get out of this trap. Yeah. And it ends in a killer cliffhanger at the end of this issue. I've been really enjoying the series so far. It's amped up the danger for the Joes in a fun way. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, this is great. This is a real fantastic, just kind of G.I. Joe issue, and I love the Clutch showing his nickname. You know what I mean? The guy comes through, he's Clutch, bro. So it's a great nickname and really working for him.
Who are you? What did you do with Pete?
Yeah, are you wearing Pete's face right now?
Yeah, because you just described a G.I. Joe issue as a G.I. Joe issue and then made fun of one of their names, which I feel like is our bit.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, if someone were to kidnap Pete and take his identity and then be like, and Pete was there kidnapped right behind him, he'd be like, good luck doing my comic book podcast, motherfucker. I hope you know a bunch of stuff and are good at talking for 4 hours straight. So whoever you are, kidnapper, let's see if you got it. Let's see if you can hang.
I thought this was badass, especially the end of the scene with Duke. I thought was really fantastic. But this is just a ton of fun and action. And yeah, I did love the Clutch moment. I don't, I don't know what to tell you.
When he shows up, I did think it was funny. Clutch shows up. He's been undercover in Cobra Town or whatever for a while, and Duke's like, "Aha! I knew it. I knew you'd be here." And he's like, "You didn't see me?" He's like, "Nope." I was like, "What?"
He just yelled out his name.
He just yelled.
He showed up.
Save my. I mean, it reminded
Clutch,
me of
now would be a good time to show up.
It reminded me of a
Please.
scene from one of my favorite movies, Sneakers. If you've never seen that movie, check it out. Old person movie also. The other thing that I thought was funny in this is when, is it Destro has to get in his little helicopter and it's the toy? And I was like, this issue's all like Energon, like high tech. And then he gets in a helicopter that has a seat where it's like sitting in a rocking chair with a helicopter attached to it. Very funny. I liked it.
Can I throw out one theory at you guys? So
Yes.
Baroness is on the side of the Joes. She's a good guy here. But the whole setup is that there's this brainwashing machine that makes you worship Cobra. Do you think she's specifically going to get hit and turned over to the side of Cobra? That's how they...
Yeah, it's because, we had this scene where Baroness and Destro on the other side of each other, which is not usually how it goes. So a lot of tension in that scene.
I mean, I like her being on the side of the good guys, so like I would be bummed if that happened.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I also thought the complication of like, yes, if you're within a 5-mile radius, it turns you into loving Cobra, but if you're within 1 mile, it erases your brain. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and of course,
Okay.
Cobra
Pretty
Commander's
cool.
like, all right, that's cool. Yeah, sure.
I mean, I
From
don't have a
1
lot
to
going
2
on.
miles, you will always smell pizza. Always.
Oh, man.
Exactly, supreme.
Perfect life.
Absolute Flash, #1 from DC Comics, written by Jeff Lemire, art by Nick Robles. This is the first of 3 issues doubling the size of the Absolute line. Here we meet a Wally West who is literally on the run after a traumatic event that we find out about by the end of the issue. But what did you guys think about this? How does this hold up to the high standard of the first 3 issues in the Absolute line?
You love Flash, right?
Great.
See?
What did
This
you
is
think
a
about this
kidnapper.
as a comic book, regardless of your feelings on the Flash, Pete?
Well, the amazing art. I really love the art here. And, if you're...
You are never
Wal-
beating the kidnapper allegations.
yeah, and, you got to watch out for that evil space monkey. And, if you like the Flash, maybe you'll like this book.
Wow, interesting. I like this book. I thought the art was good. It didn't feel like it was enough of a take to be absolute, I guess. That maybe sounds like a harsh criticism, but it's a good read. But it feels like the other absolute books are a specific putting a flag in the idea that this is a darker or a world where the hero has been dulled, so they shine in a different way.
Yeah, but like Wally's in trouble here. You know what I mean? So
definitely. But he doesn't.
Do you know what I think it is? Just to throw it out there, because I feel similarly to what you're saying, Justin. To talk about the positives first, Jeff Lemire throws some interesting ideas here, like that Wally is basically unstuck in a time. So we get to see flashbacks by his powers being out of control and jumping him backwards and eventually towards the end of the issue forward in time, so we, the viewer, get a more cohesive view of what actually happened while he's on the run in the quote-unquote present. So I like that. I also like the fact that literally, like I said, he's on the run. That's the concept of the book, so you can see where all of that comes from.
because he's a Flash.
Yes, we also get to see a new take on the Rogues. They're kind of the good guys here who are tracking down Wally because he did something bad, or seems to be blamed for doing something bad. So it's basically like, to use another Dusty movie reference, The Fugitive, except with the Flash, which is cool. That's a fun concept for a comic book. The thing that I was feeling here is each of the 3 previous ones had very specific things to say about society in different ways, about our present world. I'm not quite sure what this one is saying yet. Maybe it's trying to say something about the foster system. Maybe it's saying something about being young in America or something like that. Or it might just be like, here's a cool Flash story. I'm not 100% sure, but it hasn't gotten to that emotional core or societal core that we've gotten with the 3 previous books. Yeah, as of one issue.
I think something that it's saying is like, Wally was like, I didn't do it. And then Tommy Lee Jones was like, I don't care, and so that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like when he goes, he's in a hen house and he's a dog house and then he's in any house,
I liked how this came out right after St. Patrick's Day, and there's that famous scene in The Fugitive where he's in a St. Patrick's Day parade. Any other thoughts about this comic book?
Great art.
Yes, I mean, we are giving it a sort of harsh, maybe it feels a little harsh like we're saying, but it is a good read. Definitely worth checking out.
All right, it's time to move from the Flash Hunt to the X-Manhunt.
Manhunt.
Over at Marvel, there are
dudes.
kind of two issues this week. We've got X-Force #9 from Marvel, written by Geoffrey Thorne and Marcus To, and then we've got a Collateral Damage issue in Exceptional X-Men #7 from Marvel, written by Eval Ewing, art by Carmen Carnero. I'll tell you what. What is this? I mean, we're almost done with this.
This is the second to last issue.
Yeah, this is the second to last
Batman
issue.
Ultimate.
And man, I don't know about this crossover, you guys. That's my big critical thought here, because like the X-Force issue, half of it actually deals with what's going on and gets us back to the original story in terms of Professor X is trying to look for his daughter who is in space, but totally ignores the fact that maybe he has a tumor that's turned him into some sort of psychic bomb, which is the other thing that was going on. The other half of the X-Force book is like, well, the other team's doing what we regularly did. And then we have this Collateral Damage issue, which is the most Red Skies thing I've read in a really long time, where they're like, by the way, did you hear some stuff's going on with Professor X? Sure is. Anyway, back to business.
Yeah, that's what I call collateral damage.
Oh.
The collateral conversation damage. I mean, I agree with you. Like, this just feels strange from something that is meant to be. It's been built up for a while, heavily like talked about, and there's going to be ramifications coming out of it. But the story itself feels like such a lay-on. It feels like almost nothing, and maybe we're going to get something in the Omega issue that is interesting and a revelation about Professor X, but it all feels a little bit like a series of red herrings. And that's not to say, like, what happens in this issue with the egg and all of that, I thought was cool.
No, dude, that's bullshit, man. Charles is being so selfish. He uses the last golden egg to bring his wife back, and then it's like, yo, our daughter's in trouble. I was like, dude, that's just very selfish.
Excuse me, I didn't kill my wife, right?
Yeah, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
But I don't know, you had an egg.
I don't care. I don't care. Is that your reaction, Pete?
Good.
Well,
you're really setting him up for his line, but not nailing it. Pete, what are you bringing back for you? You got an egg. Who are you bringing back?
Dude, you got to vote. You got to talk as a group. You got to
vote with who?
The whole team. The whole team.
What
There's
team?
one egg.
Professor X is not on a team.
Well, he should be. He's usually on a team. He's usually working with people. If he's not, he should check himself. You know what I mean?
So, Pete, who are we bringing back? You got the egg. Are you talking to Alex and I to decide?
Well, yeah.
Because we know what I'm going to say.
We're a team.
I'm going to say second Justin.
What? You can't just. This isn't.
Sorry, you said the team. You said we could vote, and I'm voting for second Justin.
Alex, who are you voting for?
I don't know. Justin's making some pretty compelling arguments.
See,
about second
Pete?
Justin.
See,
Are you going second Alex? Or are you voting
No,
for
second
second?
Justin.
He's in the second Justin
That
voting
sounds
box.
great.
So that's two for second.
I see no downsides.
All right.
Yeah. Pete, who do you want to bring back?
Anyways, I think the second book was a little disappointing because the cover revealed the last panel giveaway.
Hold on. I agree with you on X-Force. I did like the egg stuff, and I thought that was emotional. Even though
Charles being a dick, man.
Even though it doesn't really connect very well to anything that happened previously. But yes, to move on to Exceptional X-Men, I continue to love this title. I know I'm much higher on it than you guys, but I do think it's doing a really good job of bringing the X-Men soap opera here. There's some good emotional stuff.
This cover ruins it.
The cover does ruin it, which is weird. Yeah. And it's weirder just to talk about it. I mean, again, it's revealed on the cover, but this tech billionaire that is corrupting or trying to corrupt one of our main new X dudes is actually Mr. Sinister. I wish we had seen how that works, because we kind of see like a shadow of him pulling back his horns, and then he's fully dressed as Mr. Sinister. So, like, was there a skin suit?
Well, I guess he keeps his
or?
suit in his horns. I guess that's what's
He
in the
can
horns.
stretch. He's stretchy. He's like
The old
Mr.
suit horn.
Fantastic.
I don't know. I
He can
kind of
do
need
whatever.
to see it happen.
What'd you think about
No.
the Ice Queen talking about love there, JT says?
Her name is White Queen, and I thought it was cool. There's some elements of this book I like, but I agree with you guys that the Mr. Sinister reveal, even cover aside, it was pretty obvious it was going to be a villain, and the most likely villain would be Mr. Sinister in this role. So, but I don't know. I wasn't not a real twist. I didn't even notice the cover when I was reading it. So, like,
that is ridiculous.
I don't look at the covers because I feel like you've got that covered.
No,
Pun
Pete
intended.
hasn't said it all episode, which again,
I said it for this one.
you called the police, right, Justin?
Yeah, definitely not Pete. Hashtag fake Pete. Everybody watch out.
I just want to call out the first couple of pages here in particular. Again, I like this issue, but we get a bunch of full page splashes of White Queen looking throughout her history until she's like, and now I'm going to try something different. I thought that was really cool.
I agree.
That's what I want to talk to JT says about this, because she talks about Iron Man like he was nothing, and then talks about her true love, and I'm wondering who you guys think that is.
Cyclops?
herself.
Oof. All right. Well, maybe herself.
Second
I would
Justin?
buy.
I don't know.
Second
It
Justin.
could be second Justin.
Could be second Justin. But
Oh man,
I
that
think that was.
bastard, he gets everything. I hate him.
I felt like that was very interesting to me because I've never heard her talk like that before. So I thought that was kind of a new queen here, and I was kind of intrigued by that.
I really like her in this book as well. She has a more outsider role, or has in the past, but I really like that we got to get into her a little bit here.
Who are the Power Pals? #1 from Dark Horse Comics, written by Duane Murray, art by Ahmed Raafat. We are following two washed-up actors who were kind of on a TV show as superheroes back in the day when they were kids, but it got canceled very quickly and was a huge failure. Now, years later, they are trying to get some of that glory back by dressing up in their costumes, leading to potentially a real superhero life. Justin, you're a professional actor and have had similar experiences.
Oh, what?
How true do you think this is to-
Justin, this is a slap in the face, bro.
You're a classically trained actor. I will say this was sort of triggering as to how the entertainment industry is and / works. So while this is a comedy book, it was stressful for me, not
As
someone
a line
who makes his
producer.
living. Yes, as a line producer.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But that was kind of fucked
So,
up.
a
The way
job that I
Alex
do
was
not
like,
have and have
Hey,
never."
you were on a failed TV show, Justin. What was that? What's that like?
I wish. Failed TV show, dream job.
Yeah, I mean, this was, we've seen this before, the classic, will these dudes get it together and kind of like figure something out here? But it's
lived
kind
it.
of dumb fun. Yeah. Great art. Kind of classic LA story, but I still was pulled in. And so I felt like it was a solid issue, even though I've seen a lot of these ideas before. I still felt like they did a great job of like the art setting a cool vibe and all that kind of thing to kind of pull you in.
Well, it's interesting. Is this a superhero origin story, or is this them just trying to get back into like a job or into Hollywood? It's hard for me to tell. They sort of went viral for getting into a street fight, a la a bum fight. So I'm curious if we're going to get actual superheroes here.
I don't think so. I mean, this strikes me a little more like a goofier Barry, sort of, where it's a little bit of a Hollywood satire. It's going to get very violent very quickly. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. I enjoyed this first issue. It's definitely leading into the jokes nonstop, and I appreciate that.
Goofy Barry.
Goofy Barry. The Power Fantasy #7 from Image Comics, written by Kieran Gillen, art by Casper Wingard. In this issue, we're finally getting some reveals about what happened to the second summer of love that destroyed all of Europe. We start to walk up to that event in this issue, and as usual, incredibly well done. Great characters throughout. We're expanding this world to some new characters, but beautiful art from Casper Wingard. Great writing from Kieran Gillen. Read this book.
I mean, look at this cover. This is just so unbelievable, and the art inside is even better, if you can believe it. It's just artistically, it's really impressive. The panels are beautiful. It's really unbelievable. This is a great story. Continues to be a fun kind of tripped out story. Takes a lot of twists and turns, and this is really impressive. I'm a big fan.
And if you guys aren't watching on the camera, just so you know, right off of the camera, the second kidnapper just cut up one of Pete's toes and was like, fucking tell us what sort of thing Pete would say. And he was like, something about the cover, man. Say something about the cover.
Say the word twists and turns. He loves saying that. That's what the second kidnapper is saying.
Whatever, second, Justin.
I'm the only real one on this podcast.
That's what hashtag Alex is the real one. Everyone says it.
Come watch Hogan's Heroes with me on my live stream.
Nothing more real than someone referencing that. This is an Alex that stepped out of some sort of suspended animation after the 1960s. What I was going to say about this comic is agree, very good. Like, it feels like you're reading a documentary about these super interesting historical figures. We get sort of wide swaths of the history. At the same time, we're getting like all of their individual personalities and the power dynamics between them. The way that they've been able to blend like diplomacy and superheroics is I wouldn't expect to be like, I love those ideas, and it really is working.
Yep. Absolute Batman #6 from DC Comics, written by Scott Snyder, art by Nick Dragotta. This is the final issue of the first arc, and Batman is coming directly for Black Mask in this issue, mano a mano for the fate of Gotham City. Pete, you seem pretty psyched, so take it away.
First off, just bananas cover. I mean, just so badass, absolutely glorious. We got this badass like lightning panel here that was the classic kind of ode to Batman. I lost my shit when I saw that. That was so cool.
I love that. I love seeing references to Batman and Batman comic books. It's crazy when that happens.
Oh, it's not too much for you? You feel like it wasn't too on the nose? You thought it was cool?
No. I love the fact, like, you barely ever get a reference to Batman in a Batman comic book, so to see a reference to Batman was awesome. That, like, made my day.
Oh, really? Well, it seems like maybe you didn't like it. You thought it was maybe not good.
How'd you guys feel about the Batman punting a child in this?
Oh, I love that. I have it in my notes. That was one of my favorite moments, really.
You mean the reference to The Dark Knight, right?
Yes.
The punting of the child?
No, the
child
lightning.
punting.
Anyways, this thing fucking rocks, and I love it. The art's unbelievable. This is so action-packed. This is so over the top. This is a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun.
How do you feel about the fact that
I turned into Jerry Seinfeld?
All of his things are sharp weapons, which
even his horns.
They kind of run out of things at this point, right? Because the first issue was like the bat signal is actually an axe, and then the last issue, I think it was like my chest spikes. They're spikes that I could use as weapons, and this time it's his ears turned down and stab him.
They kind of go up.
It's fun. Don't get me wrong. Very fun to see. But I'm like, I don't know, man. What else? His nose extends like Pinocchio.
That classic bat move. I do think Scott like sits in his office and is like just drawing. He's like thinking, what's the next thing I can do? Yeah. He's inventive. He's creative. I don't know how Batman would know when those horns need to lock in to then murder, to then stab
I'm sure it's a murder button that he hits. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It very well could be. I mean, all that stuff was cool. Really enjoyed it. The bigger revelation here to me was that all of his rogues gallery are his childhood friends.
That's been since the first issue, though.
I know, but like this put a finer point on it for me, and like it just made me think, oh, what's this being the last issue of the arc? Like, what's next? What are we doing with that?
Wait,
like,
you haven't slowly been murdering all of your childhood friends?
That feels unrelated to Batman's rogues gallery. Something he famously doesn't kill. Interesting that you said that way. Yeah, Pete, are you the Pennywise of your friend group? You're the one who kills them slowly?
No, man, I don't have any balloons.
Nice. Balloons aren't the only thing that make you a Pennywise, just to be clear.
What were we talking about? Oh, yes, we were talking about the childhood friends thing. So coming up, I was wondering about that too, actually, in this issue, just because I was like, I guess we're not going to get a Penguin or a Riddler or anything like that unless they start to go wrong. But there's a lot of other things they have planned, like is teased at the end of this issue. They've already talked about this. Bane is coming up. We're going to get a Mr. Freeze arc. Joker is coming down the road. And all of these characters can step up and become variations on the villains we know they are. Now that they know Bruce is Batman, what is that going to do to their relationship? I think that'll change things, and that'll be interesting.
Yeah. Also, if like Batman's this jacked, like is Bane even bigger, or is like Batman?
What if he's teeny?
Yeah,
what if he's teeny Bane?
He's the little Bane. Yeah,
That's break me, he says. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's intriguing, and I think to the point that you were making earlier, Justin, what Scott, not to like get inside of his brain, but I think what Scott is doing is like, this seems cool. Let me write this. Does that get me into a quarter? Okay, how do I get out of that quarter? You know? And yeah. I think that sort of storytelling is great. Like, we never really get that in mainstream comics because there are so many guide rails on everything. Obviously, this is mainstream too, but like, this is something where it really feels like
this indie book that is the highest selling book on the shelves right now.
Yeah. Just a small little indie book about a Batman guy that has references to Batman in it. But yeah, he's looking at it as like, he's always talked about it as like, okay, I had 12 issues in me, and then we got excited about it, and now we're going to do 15 issues, and now we're going to do 24 issues, and now I guess we'll see how long it goes. So it's not, we're doing Batman without the absolute, and this needs to go on literally forever for the lifeblood of the comic book industry. It can have an endpoint, and I think that frees him up to really take these chances where, yeah, maybe none of these characters are ever villains. Maybe they're always his friends, but he has complicated relationships with, and that's interesting.
Well, it's interesting in relation to what we were talking about with the Absolute Flash book, is this does feel like everyone's turned up to an absolute. Like, Batman feels like he's, like, redlining on his gas pedal and will die. So I think the real issue is how long can he last doing that? And this world that feels more extreme, it's interesting to me that so many of the villains are turned down to regular people. That's cool. That's a way to sort of highlight and lowlight different things while you're really pushing Batman to his absolute limits. Like, this is one of the first times I believed the scene where Alfred is fixing Batman's wounds. I was like, yo, that dude needs help. Somebody help him. And that Alfred's barely his butler.
Hey, not yet. He's getting there.
Shots at Alfred,
Butler begins.
Get a suit on him. Have some respect.
Get him some bouillabaisse or, I don't know, stock.
Yes, whatever. Famously the soup that he serves Batman. That is canon on our show, that Alex thinks that Batman is eating bouillabaisse on the reg. Famously one of the most complicated soups to make.
Eddie Brock Carnage, #2 from Marvel, written by Charles Soule, art by Jesus Saiz. Per the title, Eddie Brock is Carnage now, and he needs to kill people to make Carnage happy, something that he recaps in this issue. And they've kind of made a deal where he is going to go after bad people. So in this issue, he goes after, mild spoiler here, but Bushwhacker, one of the grossest villains in the Marvel canon.
Old goopy gun hand.
So gross.
Gun hands.
I think we all really like the first issue. How did you feel about issue #2?
I like this. I think this sort of devil's bargain that we see Eddie Brock going through, and Carnage as well, is the tension's high. You know it's not going to work out for either of them. I find it interesting, the underlying mystery here, where all the FBI is like, hey, what happened to all the people on this plane? And these are the people we saw that Carnage sort of gooped away. So, like, I don't know. I think that's like, we already know, so what's the mystery?
No, we don't know, because he took them away, and then he
blacked out.
Yeah, he blacked out. So he doesn't know where the survivors are. So that is a mystery, but I agree with you. It's a little The stuff with Eddie Brock and Carnage is so interesting and I think so well done in the interrogation scene. Anytime they cut away to these no-name characters, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, who are like, we have to, but also like, and maybe that is the central animating mystery, but it just felt strange to me that would be what it is when the mystery or the tension between Carnage and Eddie is so interesting. Where does Bushwhacker make his bullets from? Because he turns his hand into a big gun, like a cannon. Is the cannonball like some of his organs?
Yeah, I assume it's kidneys and whatnot.
The kidney ball.
Yeah, kitty bobs. Pete, you're our expert in Bushwhacker.
I don't know, man. It's goop. His bullets are goop. Yeah, I thought fun fight at the end here. Great art. A lot of talking early on, but I'm having a good time with this. I just thought this was like a great kind of showdown that was well built up. So, yeah, I'm having a blast with this, and it's in the good hands with this team that's on it.
I think Pete's rushing to get through this review to get to the next comic we're talking about.
I think so as well. Two more things that I will mention about this, though. I like the fact that they didn't play around with who Eddie Brock, because he's not really like a great undercover spy. Instead, having Misty Knight come in and be like, yeah, that's Eddie Brock. Can we just move on with that thing? I thought that was a very fun moment. And conversely, him hiding out, I don't remember the fake name he gave, but he was like, I'm Edwin Brooke.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like that.
It was almost that. He definitely said Edwin something, and I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Couldn't have come. And he has identified himself as like a genius investigative reporter. I was like, well, he's still your old guy. You're not great at deep cover.
Yeah. All right. Why don't we move on to the thing that Pete is so excited about? Mouse Guard, Dawn of the Black Axe, #1 from Archaia. Written by David Peterson, art by Gabriel Rodriguez. This is a return to the world of Mouse Guard after a very long time. Now with our fave, Gabriel Rodriguez from Lock and Key on art. Pete, take it away.
So this is glorious because we get the OG Black Axe story. When we've seen the Black Axe before, it was like kind of who is taken over. So it's kind of nice to see the first story, which is really cool. But yeah, this is great news because normally Peterson does both. So it's great to see him kind of open up his world, and it's in unbelievable hands because the art on this is just absolutely fantastic. And yeah, it's a cool story of this mouse kind of taking on this burden of the Black Axe, and yeah, how it kind of came to be.
Now, in a mouse versus snake, are you always rooting for the mouse?
Always, yeah.
Which is what we get here. Has this book, loving this book, made you closer to mice when you see them in your real life? Because I know you live in the country.
Yeah, I sure do. But no, it doesn't. But yeah, it's just kind of a cool world to be back in. And I think Peterson does such a great job of kind of setting up this cool tone in this world, and all the maps and stuff really help.
Like, would you leave out a little mini axe and a real mouse to find in your house?
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
Nice. What if it got too powerful and sort of tried to take you down?
Oh, I would take him down. You know what I mean?
You would crush the Black Axe?
Yeah, I mean, there's only one ruler of this house, and that's me.
Wow. Loves Mouse Guard to a point. This is great, fantastic art while continuing the Mouse Guard action. Great to just see Gabriel Rodriguez's name out there.
Oh, yeah.
And the pages he's turning out. And great back matter if you like to see how Gabriel works on this book.
Yeah, it's cool to see the collaboration. They show you the scripts and the art, and it's, yeah, it's great back matter, as you said. And also it was kind of cool to see like this mouse kind of get guided by this kind of ghost. That's a cool setup, and yeah, I'm excited for more of this.
The Deviant, #9 from Image Comics, written by James Tynion IV, art by Joshua Hickson. This is the final issue of the series about a creepy Santa Claus killer who is framing a bunch of folks for murders. That's the bare bones explanation of what's going on here, because it's also dealing with a comic book writer who is interviewing somebody who was the Deviant killer, or assumed to be the Deviant killer back in the day, who has gotten embroiled in this copycat killer. We find out who it is here. They unravel the entire mystery, and then we get a little bit of an epilogue that shows us what happened to the characters. I thought this was fantastic. I was really worried going into this issue that we were going to end up with a very dark or ambiguous ending. But instead, it leaned into a lot of explanation that did really make sense, really did tie up the mystery very nicely, while still diving into the themes that James and Joshua have been spooling out throughout this book about deviance, what is deviance, who sees deviance, all of those things. Incredible, excellent comic book series.
Well, and I really liked sort of what you're saying, the theme of like people chase deviancy to a point, and then it's like then horror about it, or like the obsession with serial killers we have in our society, up to the point of the actual person that kills other people. So like interesting line to be finding here, and I feel like I agree with you, Alex. You're saying that it felt like this could have just been like, oh, and then more people died, and then they killed the guy. End of mystery. But instead, we got a real sort of loving look at these characters, where we got to really see the meaning of their involvement in the story and what sort of where they end in a way. And I agree. This was great. The art was fantastic. Great read. It feels strange to be reading a Christmas story right now, but this is going to read so well in trade.
Yeah, I agree. This is really impressive. I mean, this is scary as fuck, JT Ford killing this, but I think that this is like, it was really impressive. The reveal, it all kind of made sense, and then was kind of creepy in its way that it made sense. And yeah, I believed it all, and it was kind of a cool idea in this kind of Hannibal Lecter interview style, where we're kind of getting to know the mind behind it. And he had some great explanations, and it really kind of set things up in a way that was easy to kind of understand. So, and then it was scary and bloody as shit. So it was a total package.
There you go, the total package. Superman, The Last Days of Lex Luthor, #2 from DC Comics, written by Mark Waid. Art by Brian Hitch. This is a very long delayed second issue to the story about Lex Luthor. Per the title, is dying, and so he has made a deal with Superman to try to save his life against the wishes of pretty much the entire world. In this issue, we're getting to see Superman go through that and try to save Lex, and all the different ways he tries to save Lex, as slowly they come to a different sort of understanding about themselves. What do you guys think? Was this worth the wait?
Yeah, I like this a lot. I mean, it's about Lex Luthor, but it's really about Superman. And, you know, we've talked in the past about how it's weird that in the current canon, Lex Luthor and Clark grew up in Smallville and like were sort of friends. And this, we get a real look at that. And while that does bother me from a convenience of storytelling way, this was good. Like, I liked the backstory we got there, but I particularly like, there's a great sequence where Wonder Woman is trying to help Lex Luthor, and the lasso of truth is around both of their bodies. So they're both telling the truth. We get this idea that I hadn't ever heard before, that the lasso of truth doesn't only make you tell the truth, it makes you more susceptible to hearing the truth, which I thought was really interesting. And this book is just sort of a meditation on Superman, which is really fun. We do get Superman being like, hey, I used to date this mermaid, something we talked about last week a lot, which I was like, oh man, do I need to go back and reread some of that stuff? Because they talk about it like, Superman loves this mermaid, he wants to be a merman, make him love this mermaid. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, book. It mostly is weird that I don't think it has come up the entire time we've been doing this show for the past 18 years until twice in the past 2 weeks.
Yes.
That's the
And I'm like, again, I want to read this book where Superman went under the sea and what happened.
Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, as usual, I didn't like any of the Lex Luthor Superman stuff, but
you mean the entire book?
What?
The entire every page. You didn't like every page.
No, I don't like.
I did like the cover
like
where
them
Superman was on it, but I
spending this
didn't
much
like the
time
part
together.
where it said Lex Luthor. Like me?
Wait, why? What? are you saying?
Yeah, what are you saying?
I did think this was a great story, cool action, and unbelievable art. I just don't like him piling around with Lex. I don't like him spending so much time with Lex Luthor. I don't like Lex Luthor, so I don't like him piling around with him. So, yeah, it bothers me.
What don't you like about him? How smart he is, his riches.
Yeah, all that.
How he always gets the girl.
Yep. Famously always gets the girl, Lex. Real Zach Morris, as they say.
Yeah, he's always saved by the bell. Yeah, I thought this was really great. Like, just to reiterate what you guys are saying, this is much more Mark Waid's mission statement on Superman, which is wild from a guy that is putting out, I don't know, 50, 60 comic books a month or something like that. But he does it every time.
He does it.
The Avengers, number 24 from Marvel, written by Jed MacKay, art by Fareed Karami. We are bringing to close the arc where the Avengers are battling Kang and Black Cat for an important piece of information that they think can help them save the universe. Justin, you're a big Black Cat guy.
Yeah, Justin.
What'd you think?
I mean, Jed MacKay will never not hide a great Black Cat story in any book he can, and this is Black Cat having a nice moment with her dad, which I thought was sweet. And, you know, I didn't, from a larger Avengers story, this one felt like a Black Cat little side trip, but we did get a lot of other stuff happening here, and them arriving back home to face One World Under Doom, which was nice and dramatic to close out the issue. So I'm unsurprisingly on board with this.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, it really is. It talks about how bad luck can really be a problem solver when you need it, and just unbelievable power to have.
Mm-hmm. Do you carry a Black Cat with you everywhere, Pete?
Just so it's on his shoulder.
Always be catting. You know what I mean? But I just think that this is fun. And then she gets emotional at the end. I thought that was a real nice moment with Black Cat there, so that was cool.
Not my favorite issue of this arc, but that scene, like you guys said, with Black Cat and her dad was great. So worth it for that scene alone.
Uh-huh.
L.A. Strong from Mad Cave Studios. I did not write down everybody who is in this book because everybody is in this book. All the writers,
everybody's
all of the
in L.A., as they
This
say.
is a tribute book to help with relief from the LA fires. Remember those from a couple of months ago? People are still dealing with the fallout of that. And in particular, Mad Cave has made, I believe, a rather sizable contribution to Bix, which it's the book something fund. I don't remember. I'm sorry. Will actually look it up in a second so I can get you guys the actual information. But they're also donating proceeds from this book, which is why I wanted to highlight it. But I thought it was great. There's some really beautiful art throughout here. Most of it is not stories. It's more one-page tributes to LA, though there are a couple of very fun stories in the middle here. Overall, I thought a great collection for a great cause.
Yes. Oh, good.
I'm really impressed with the collection here. Sometimes we get a collection of stories or a collection, there's some lowlights and some highlights, but I really was impressed with the quality of work here. It's very amazingly creative, sad and powerful and somber, but there's some real hope in there, and so a touching letter with Greg Pak in there at the end, and I was really impressed with the stories and just what people contributed. Also, I thought the comic strip at the end was hysterical. So, some real great stuff in here.
Yeah, I mean, I love the format. Giving most everyone one page, writer and artist pair 1 page, I thought was really smart because it made for some really diverse, different ideas and a lot of different takes. I want to shout out the Christos Gage page, which I thought was really good.
Oh, yeah, the Gage page.
The Gage page. Joshua Hale Fialkov and Noel Tozan had a great page. And then I wanted to highlight Mark Guggenheim's.
The Googs?
Especially because we were with him in New Orleans when the fires were raging. We were literally on stage. He was on our panel down there. And he was checking his phone to get updates on his family during the fire while also taking the time to talk comics with us. So his page definitely resonated with me because I just pictured him there being so talking candidly about his time working on CW shows and all that, while at the same time he was having to deal with the stress of this. So really good book, really great pages.
And the fund is actually the Bink Foundation, BINC. And what they do is they help very specifically local books.
Is he freezing for you, Justin?
What?
What's that?
Is he freezing?
Me?
Because he's freezing on my screen.
What are you talking about, Pete? The Bink Foundation, which delivers help for bookstores and comic book stores. Yeah, there you go.
Really good.
You froze for a bunch of that, Alex, just so you know.
No, I didn't.
Nope.
But that's all right. Why don't we move on, talk about the next book, which is Lawful, number 8 from Boom Studios, written by Greg Pak, art by Diego Galindo. This is the final issue of this series, which is about a world where if people lie or tell a mistruth or do something wrong, it starts to show on their skin, they start to turn into a creature, but that's not exactly what's going on. So yeah, it is all revealed in this issue. What did you guys think about the series?
Yeah, I mean, what this book did a rare thing of like having a strong premise throughout the 8-issue run, but really like revealing the true nature of it without it feeling like a withheld, coy idea. And revealed in an emotional way. Like, this was really masterfully paced and done, I thought, from Greg Pak. So that was awesome. And really great art. We talked last issue that, wow, that felt like the last issue, the 7th issue. And this manages to still have a great confrontation while also just letting all the characters sort of conclude their stories both emotionally and narratively and come to a nice resting point. Really great stuff.
Yeah, this was super impressive. I love the reveal. I love the way it was revealed to me. I love when a book finishes and I get so excited about it, I want to go back and read it again. I want to be like a cool dragon / human. And, so I feel like this was such a interesting idea and very well executed and are artistically kind of woven in such a great way. Yeah, this was awesome.
Yep. Bug Wars number 2 from Image Comics, written by Jason Aaron, art by Mahmoud Azrar. We are following up on the adventures of a kid named Slade Slaymaker, who has shrunk down into his backyard and is finding a mystical world of wonderful bugs where everything is joyous and happy. It's basically like a bug's life, but even better, and a fanciful carnival all the time. Just kidding. It's Jason Aaron, so of course it's a hideous hellhole barbarian world that this kid has entered. We talked to the team a couple of months back, or a month back, so you can check that out in the podcast. But what did you guys think about the follow-up here? What did you think about the second issue? Justin, I think you had called it out as one of your most anticipated books reading this year, so what'd you think?
Yeah, I love it. Like, Jason Aaron manages to give us like a lot of like world building, and every bit of it is fun. I'm hanging on every this is where all the worst mud bugs and beetle heads hang out. Like, he just goes to town on so much of that. That's establishing the landscape that our hero is dropped into. A lot of great bug sex in this. You know who I'm talking to out there, the fans, which is great. But our main character, I like he was powered up at the end of the first issue, and we get some wobble on that I think is a great. Because I was surprised how that first issue ended, and this really made it all sort of make sense and pay off. And mosquitoes, agreed, annoying.
And Justin, real quick, when a bug is giving you a blowjob, is that actually a hand job?
That's called a bug job.
Oh,
BJ.
Don't quit your bug job.
Wow. I never say that.
This continues to be a lot of fun. I just think that this is really cool world, something we've seen but not done this way. And I think, all the kind of action and weirdness that happens, and Zalbin's down on Flutter Street just hanging out, And I think
he's got an apartment on Flutter Street.
Their rent is cheap.
More of this, please.
The rent is cheap on Flutta Street. Yeah, this is the musical.
Great art, great story. Really enjoying where this one is going. It's also very personal. I was really curious after the first issue how much interplay they could have between what's happening in the real regular sized world and in this tiny bug world. But I think they make a valid case for how they can go back and forth this issue, which I thought was really cool. So great stuff. And just a point of clarification, when Pete is saying it's a cool world, he's talking about the movie with Kim Basinger. All right, moving on. Magic #3 from Marvel, written by Ashley Allen, art by Jermaine Peralta. Magic has been sent to another dimension by this evil dude who I'm blanking on the name of. I want to say it's Laird, but it's definitely not.
It's not Laird.
Anyway, he has a similar backstory to Magic, though tweaked just a little bit different. And he is trying to win her over to his side, or at least convince her of his philosophy. Another great issue, I thought, of this book that's really punching above its weight. There's some interesting stuff in here, some great art, particularly in the Dark Child sequences. Good stuff.
I love this book. I think this is one of the stronger books in the X line right now. I think Liminal is the name you're trying to think of, Alex.
There you
go. But her sort of her kid sidekick in this is Cal Isaacs. I like their relationship. Magic struggling with her identity throughout this. She makes sort of another deal with a demon in a really interesting way that I'm excited to see how it pays off. And then we get a character reveal at the end of the issue that I was surprised because it doesn't quite match up with the tone and vibe that we've had so far, but very excited to see where it goes. Check this out.
Yeah, I agree. This is cool. It's also, as the JT says, likes, you get inside Magic's head a little bit, kind of see what she's dealing with. So that's great. A lot of kind of twists and turns as far as like traps that she's in, or maybe she got out of a trap, but maybe it's a trap within a trap. So
ever thought about it?
Yeah, so
thought about that?
I don't think we're out of it yet, but this is cool, and I would like to continue reading this.
Wish granted.
There you go. Forever. The Last Boy, #1 from Boom Studios, written by Dan Panosian, art by Alessio Avallone. This is a sort of spiritual sequel to Dan Panosian's book, Alice Ever After, which took a very different, darker look at Alice in Wonderland. Here, as you might be able to figure out from the name, we're talking about Peter Pan instead.
Oh!
And looking at the Peter Pan timeline, I guess you would call it.
Mythology,
undercutting. And how it's changing there, as well as some stuff that is going on with Wendy Darling at the same time. I really like this first issue, but I'm not quite sure how these two stories connect yet, but I'm curious to find out.
I mean, the two stories being Wendy and Peter's?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of the ideas Dan Panosian... yes, there's the relationship. There's a relationship there, perhaps. The Dan Panosian really gets under the hood of these big fairy tales, mythologies, and finds like a darker, horrifying thing to look at. This one so far feels like, hey, remember Peter Pan? What if he was a dick? What if he was sort of an asshole? Yeah. Which I was like, oh, I didn't expect to open this book and be like, actually, Captain Hook is right. The trade deal he worked out with Tiger Lily was actually worth saving. I was like, what? Is this the news? So I don't know. I want this to find at least a fun part for the story to pop through, whether it's the relationship between Peter and Wendy or something there. Because even the Wendy side, it's like everyone's like, hey, stop being fun. Stop doing fun stuff and go feed your dad medicine. It's like, okay.
Did you feel like the Peter Pan thing when all was like one world under doom? It was very similar.
It was sort of where like the hero's wrong, the villains are just trying to get by and do like their job. I don't know. It's a strange idea in the culture right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting take for sure. It's kind of cool to be back here, but under horrible circumstances. I didn't like Peter being a dick. I also felt like Tinkerbell was manipulating Peter Pan in a weird way, so it was like
Can't trust those fellas.
Everybody's a dick except for Captain Hook and like his unbelievable willing to pay people what they deserve. So yeah, it was kind of a crazy twist of like good guys are bad guys are good guys type of thing. But I was just like, okay, but why? But I'm along for the ride because I like the world well enough that I'll be interested to see what happens.
The Serpent of the Garden, Ed Gray in the Last Battle for England, #3 from Dark Horse Comics, written by Mike Mignola, art by Ben Stenbeck. For the title, we are getting Ed Gray is now a giant plant monster, and he's fighting a pig man that became a larger monster man. And
lion
fighting
kind of monster
lion,
with tusk.
Yeah, lion, yeah, exactly. Like a lion tusk, like some sort of like woolly mammoth, lion, large guy. Yeah,
he sort of had a lot
Anyway,
of
they're
animals.
fighting,
Monster,
and that fight finishes.
Yeah, it's a badass monster battle. Yeah, I mean, first off, the art's unbelievable. This makes me really miss Hellboy and want him to
I
come
really
back.
thought for a second you were going to be like, it really makes me miss England.
Yeah. Really makes me miss my time as a pig man. You know?
Yeah, you know, being a pig man is tough, and you got to get a lot of crazy battles. But yeah, I like this. I thought it ended nicely, and it was well done artistically. These are always just unbelievable. It's nice to be in this world, but man, I'd love to be hanging out with Hellboy some more. You know what I mean?
And now, Pete, how long did you work as a model for those pigs on signs that love eating other pigs on like a barbecue restaurant?
Oh, for years, man,
Yeah,
for years,
right.
because I would
That's
get
crazy.
free barbecue. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Pete, you're still bringing home the bacon on that stuff, right?
Oh yeah, man. Come on.
I mean,
A lot of people don't know this, but you get residuals on signs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, when you order a great pulled pork, Pete gets 5 cents. So keep on porking it up, says Pete. The
Pork slap.
I do like this comic. I like this issue. It's a bit spare. It's a bit light. It's Shakespearean in the end, which that lights up my
Yeah, exactly.
life.
You gotta love that. Yeah.
But
Do you
but
act these out when you read them? Do you get like that fired up?
Yeah, this is going to be my monologue at my next audition.
Oh, I can't
I'll just
wait.
read from the text.
I'd like to read from The Serpent in the Garden.
Yeah.
Oh, The Serpent in the Garden, Ed Gray in the Last Battle for England. Which issue?
Yeah. I'm going to do issue 3. Oh,
One,
someone
two,
just came
or
through.
three.
We've heard so much of this monologue today. We'll be doing the Pigman or Gray. Ed Gray or Pigman. The thing is, like, it does make me wonder what lights up Mike Mignola now. Like, was he like, I have to follow up on the tale of this Pigman? And like, that part is interesting. It does connect with
He was
Hellboy's
a guy in the Hellboy. Yeah.
Yes. But, like, does he want to continue to tell adjacent stories in the Hellboy universe? Does he care about the Hellboy universe? Is he just wanting to tell these interesting stories? His style is still really interesting, like the little cutaway panels with, like, a bird just sitting there. I'm like, it works every time. I love it every time.
I do.
Show me that bird.
I'm such a sucker
I love
for
it.
that.
I want a little frog or whatever. Give me a little frog or a bird. So
Why does
that's
that
cool.
work so well?
I don't know. I'd like to know where the birds and the frogs are up to.
Yep.
Me too. Little goldfish.
I'm like, but what is the bird thing in this battle? Oh, okay.
Not a lot of it. Doesn't have a strong opinion, but looking on.
It's looking on.
Like
just
me, it's
us.
looking
yeah,
on.
Yeah.
But like, what's the larger idea? I would love a statement from him, no matter what it is. A statement comic that just is like, here's what I think is cool now.
You are not demanding a statement.
Yeah,
from
speak, Mike.
You, sir, Mr. Mignola, we're calling you out on this podcast.
No, just like I want a comic book that from him that feels like here's my artistic what I believe.
I mean, I think that's what we're getting. That's what all
Yeah.
of this is.
But then I don't know what that. Then that's not.
He's always wanted to tell this Pigman story, and now he gets to do it, man.
Maybe, but it doesn't feel like a big swing. Hellboy felt like a big swing and something that like was about something specific.
What's not
These
bigger
feel
than
adjacent.
a pig turning into a woolly mammoth lion?
Honestly, I think, I don't know, Mike Mignola, but this is the last story that Ben Stenbeck is drawing for this universe in a while. So it might be as simple as, like, what is something that I could do with Ben Stenbeck that could really, get out his drawing chops. Meanwhile, Mignola has this whole other universe, I think it's called Outer Worlds or something like that, where he's creating something whole cloth. So I bet that's what he's into right now. That's where his soul is at. And here he's passionate about this, but I don't think he wants to tell a big ongoing Hellboy story. He wants to create more new things, but I guess we'll see.
Great.
Why don't we move on and talk about The Question All Along the Watchtower, number 5 from DC Comics, written by Alex Segura, art by Cian Torme and Raul Fernandez. This issue, Renee Montoya is leading the charge to take back the Justice League Watchtower from Cyborg Superman, who has taken it over, and things are not going great. Let's be honest, okay?
Yeah. But, I highlighted the Challengers of the Unknown in the live show, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But this is also a great issue with just a great central mystery that Alex Segura, a big mystery man, and we're getting to see his take on this. I love just the moments when Renee and Batwoman get together here. I thought that was awesome. Built up and then paid off in a great way. Surprised to see the other Question showing up here. But don't mind him. And then the dog hang in this was also fun and funny, and the naming of the dog was great.
Yeah,
Enjoyed.
I really enjoyed this as well. This was really impressive. Tons of action. And crazy last panel. Love the art. I was super impressed with Segura's writing in here. It was really cool story.
Deadpool Wolverine, number 3 from Marvel, written by Benjamin Percy, art by Joshua Cassara. Deadpool keeps slipping into a state that we, the readers, know has been caused by strife, but Wolverine doesn't know why, and he has tried to find out this issue by stabbing Deadpool as many times as he possibly can.
Convenient.
Yes, very convenient. Pretty gross. Pretty big stabbing issue in here, but, that's what you expect from the title, I guess. And I will say there is a great bit in here where Wolverine's tried to jog Deadpool's memory, and he's like, wait, you know what? It's strife. And Wolverine's like, oh, yeah? And he's like, by the way, I don't know that because you've been stabbing me. I know that because he's standing right behind you right now.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to a wide panel of Strife standing behind him. Very fun.
Now, do you think you saw Strife in the wild, you'd be like, that's Strife?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think it depends. Like, if he's wearing the spiky shoulder pads, yeah, that's Strife. If he's not, maybe it's Cable.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a hard pull.
I would shout Nathan Dayspring and see what happens.
Oh, wow.
Huh? What'd you say? I like when I saw that Strife was the villain here, I was like, hell yeah, great. Love that guy. Great villain. He's being used here. Big Strife fan. Executioner's Song. That's what I wish Manhunt was. They could have done it that way, but they didn't. The use of Strife here, he has like a sort of a weird plan. And he's more of a bureaucratic manager here. Like, he shows up and is like, Wolverine, you're actually supposed to be responding to this thing I did where you turn into, like, a slave for me. And it's weird that you're not. Oh, must be you're wearing a new body. Okay, well, that's annoying, I guess. And it's like, what would be scary? He should be a distant villain or someone that everyone's scared to fight. And instead, he's sort of, like, popping in on a Zoom call at one point.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you because I also love Strife as an insane over-the-top villain, and everything around him is very cool. He's riding a giant bone dragon that breathes fire to resurrect cowboy zombies that are attacking Deadpool and Wolverine, who cannot stop stabbing each other. All that stuff, very fun. Strife, meanwhile, just it's not Strife yet, and we need to get there.
We'll get there. We just got Strife. Take it easy. You know what I mean? So first off, I can't believe we talked this long and not talking about how great this cover is. I mean, this is just glorious. Really sets up the tone of what's inside very nicely. Yeah. Loved all the
Who
action
would have seen
here.
it coming? A Deadpool and Wolverine comic. I'm so glad that the cover was filled me in that they might stab and shoot each other.
Talk trash all you want. That's a fucking glorious cover. All right. And what happens inside is so much fun. Love these two just stabbing each other. And it's like, if I keep poking you, you eventually do something weird. So I'm going to keep poking you. It's just sound logic. We got this kind of Evil Dead Rising thing happening. But yeah, I also thought the bit was very funny about what's behind you. This was a total blast and definitely worth checking out.
Next up, it's Crush Depth, number 1 from Bad Cave Studios, written by David D.B. Andre, art by Alex Sanchez. And this is about a book that I'm Crush Depth. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it takes place on a submarine.
Like
no, I was kind of
DuckTales?
trying to do a crush type thing, but it didn't work. So I was moving on. Takes place on a submarine after there's been an enormous climate disaster, and the main character is celebrating her birthday. It is interrupted by weird goings-on under the sea, as Justin likes to say. And if you're a fan of Abyss, Annihilation, but wish that was more underwater, anything like that, I think you're going to like this book.
The Aliens movie, I think, matches here. I did enjoy this. I like how much time we get with the characters as humans, just hanging out and being with each other before we get to the part that will eventually kill them. And then the monster / mystery is much more visceral than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be more like a cat and mouse game. Instead, it's like, hey, there's a monster that's full of dead bodies already. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know exactly how that's going to play out, but I will definitely read a second-ish here.
Yeah, I agree. I want to check out the second one. I think this is very interesting. Love the art to it. It's got an interesting look and good setup for a first issue. Gets you excited for what's to come.
You Never Heard of Me, number 3 from Dark Horse Comics, written by Iolando Zanfardino, art by Elisa Romboli. This follows a kid who has a power of second sight where he can see 2 possible futures, or maybe part of their past as well, basically their worst day and their best day. He and his best friend, or burgeoning best friend, are trying to stop this kid from experiencing his worst day, but can't tell him about the power. So slowly the 3 of them are becoming friends over the course of this issue. I really like the tone of the series, and I really like how it explores these powers in a relatively realistic way, as well as expanding the scope of what they can do towards the end of the book, when he discovers that destinies can change pretty quickly depending on what you do. So great exploration, good characters, well done.
Yeah, that was my favorite part, was the sort of the destiny changing moment. I thought that was an interesting use of powers and then an interesting understanding they reached out of it. Like, oh, well, maybe they just met each other for a minute, but it doesn't actually mean enough of their time was spent with each other. Now their destiny's changing unless they talk to each other again. Like, all that stuff was cool. It's a little convoluted in what's going on here. I don't think we get so many uses of the power. And I was like, oh, let's just do it a little bit, because I'm getting overwhelmed with what's happening. But I did like the friendship and the interplay here.
Well, it's this idea, Justin, of destiny being like this child. And you got to take care of this child and be very kind of cautious with it, because one small turn can really change everything for everybody. So are you
saying that Justin wasn't ready for this jelly? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, big time. Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, I do think this was a ton of fun. I do think that this was really cool. I love the visual use of the power. As someone reading the comic, it was kind of cool to kind of experience it with them. So I really appreciated that.
Just to interrupt for anybody who's not reading this, the neat way that they do it is each of the destinies has a different color. So yellow, if I remember, is worst day, and green is best day. So it gets split up that way throughout the page and sort of flows around the main character. So that's what you're referring to, right, Pete?
Yeah, exactly. It's very creative and cool, and kind of a cool experience as the reader as well. So yeah, I didn't get tired of it, unlike Justin. But yeah, this was I think a fantastic kind of start to this adventure, and I'm along the ride for more.
I wasn't tired. I was overwhelmed by it.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
stop fighting.
And it's fun when you got a duck with you. You know what I mean? When in doubt, just bring a duck.
100%. Challengers of the Unknown, number 4 from DC Comics, written by Christopher Cantwell, art by Sean Isaacs. The Challengers are seemingly being attacked by Darkseid energy, something the Justice League doesn't really love, but they are continuing to explore anyway. And in this issue, we focus on yet another Challenger and another terrifying mystery as he teams up with the Green Lantern and Captain Comet, I believe.
Yes, randomly there. Because kind of a pretty braggy dude.
Yeah. You love this book, Justin, so
yeah, Justin.
take it away.
I do love this book, and I speak also for Second Justin, who also loves this book.
Oh, really? Both
we
of you
both
guys?
love it. Yeah, the Justin block is here. We're often unified in our takes. This is
So
great.
why have a second? You know what I mean? If it's just the same as the first Justin.
Have you ever had something and wanted more of it? You know, like a meal? Gone back for second helpings? Yeah. Pete, and I'll tell you what, I know you have. I've seen you go to a barbecue stand at a Comic-Con floor twice.
Oh, yeah.
And that, my friends, is taking your life in your hands. But what I was going to say about this comic is it is very good. Christopher Cantwell has been able to really make these Challengers of the Unknown pop as individual characters, something I think a lot of times we don't really get in a Challenger series, while at the same time incorporating the superheroes in a way. I love the way that when they're working on a Challenger's mission, their uniforms change color. That's a really great, just funny little thing to have happen here. While at the same time, there's a great mystery happening here, the Justice League being scared of the Challenge of the Unknown. You don't usually they're just sort of off to the side, and here it feels very central. It feels closer to the Darkseid plot that we got sort of clued in on in the All In stuff with a few months back. So this book feels like essential reading, and it's very good also.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's got some fun dialogue here. There was this one panel where I wrote down, it's like, hey, we need to talk, and you ain't gonna like it. Just some fun lines in there.
That's a line you're going to incorporate into your life, right?
Yeah, definitely will if I haven't already. But great art and some action. Interested in what's going to happen next.
I do. My one quibble with this book right now, and this happens at least once an issue, is how the Challengers of the Unknown suck. It's just like it's a bad team, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Wow, I guess you just want the unknown to remain unchallenged.
Exactly. No. I do like Challengers of the Unknown, and I do generally like this book, but it's so deep DC continuity sometimes that it's hard to get into absolutely everything. The very specific example I use with this issue is they get inside of this asteroid, and in the middle, they find a body, and the revelation is like, oh my God, it's Cave Carson. And in my head, I'm like, I vaguely remember that name, but I don't know.
That big Grant Morrison character, Alex.
Sure, and that's fine, but I don't think he's appeared yet in this book, so I don't have the emotional connection I need.
He has not.
To be upset that Cave Carson is in here.
He's in a cave, though.
He is in a cave. Yes, so, and I was like Cave
name.
Carson. He's the guy who's in caves, I guess, is what's going on. That's all. It's okay. We're all very deep into comic books.
Well, let me ask you this, Alex. Have you ever had watched a show or participated in a mystery where the person who's dead is not known? Where suddenly a story starts and they're like, hey, we found a body. Here's the name. What's the story here?
There just needs to be some sort of explanation about Cave Carson. That was the thing.
They're going to get that. They're like, here's Cave Carson. He's like, he's my friend. And we're going to find out why he is his friend, maybe, and how he ended up there.
I guess.
Don't make me go to bat for this, because I will all day. And I got a whole nother second me here ready to fight for it.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, he's ready to unleash hell, just like Daredevil unleash hell. Red Band number 3 from Marvel, written by Erica Schultz, art by Valentina Pinti and Jose Luis Soares. Muse is back and has taken over the body of a art student who also really loves chopping people up and turning them into sculptures and fighting Elektra. Some big stuff goes down in this issue that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
This series is taking some wild twists and turns, like Pete likes to say.
Erica Schultz goes hard.
She goes hard. Yeah, I
That's
think
all we got to say.
this is first off, oh shit, intense cover alert. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm having a blast with this. I did feel like the villain reveal at the end was a bit much, because I was like, yo, we're going to crazy town here. We're already dealing with this other second Muse, you know, and like second Justin, you're like a little over it. But I think that the Ghost Rider shit was really awesome. But then they kind of like had on the hat here with the villain reveal. I'm sure there will be reasons for this, and I'm excited to learn it because I'm having a great time with this comic. But I was like, instead of like, oh shit, yeah, I was a little like, oh, okay.
I was all oh shit yeah throughout this comic. The idea that Ghost Rider spends a lot of the issue being like, I'm coming. He's like,
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna
he's
get
like,
there.
I'm
Don't
in
worry.
Seattle. He's driving across the country.
Dude. Road trip.
Really. I didn't know he had to road trip quite so hard. There's no
And he's
shortcut.
Ghost Rider, so he can't go shortcuts. He's got to go Route 66. You know what I mean? He's got to go
100%.
old
And at that
school.
point, you're on Route 66. You got so many sights to see. Giant ball of yarn, lots of stops. There's tourist traps. You got to get some snacks. What's your favorite road snack if you're Ghost Rider, right?
Yeah.
Probably Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
I was going to say, yes, exactly.
Gotta go to,
the
gotta go to
spicy
Buc-ee's.
peanuts that keep you awake. Yeah, he's got to go to Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
You know Ghost Rider. He bathroom breaks, as we
Make
saw,
a
because he
little
pisses
detour.
fire.
Go to Dollywood. Just check that out.
Oh, man. You got to go to Dollywood every time you're on the road.
I gotta go. I gotta say hi to Mr. Six at Six Flags. He says, "Old friend."
He's like, I
Gets
love
there
the
and
way
he's
that
like,
guy
oh,
dances.
she died 2 weeks ago? All right.
Well, that's the crazy thing is he rolls into New York. He's like, "I'm here,
So
Elektra. Oops, I missed you." It was crazy. That was a crazy idea that he's late on his flaming bike. So that was fun. The Muse stuff is great. The reveal at the end, I was like, oh, hell yes. This book cannot go harder.
I see what you did there. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay.
So, like, I'm fully on board with this. Muse in the press as a potential villain here in the Daredevil TV show. Bring me this level of Muse intensity to that show as well.
Wow.
Red Sonja Attacks Mars, #1 from Dynamite, written by Jay Stevens, art by Fran Strucken. This is a sequel series to Mars Attacks Red Sonja, and now she's given as hard as she's getting. What'd you guys think about this book?
What?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think this, you get kind of it's a great idea, a fun idea. Mars Attacks meets Red Sonja. Great. Fun execution. I thought it was a ton of action. I knew what I was getting into, and they delivered. So great times.
It's interesting how much continuity there is here. Like, there's a lot of reference.
A lot
like,
to get through, yeah.
Actually, the Red Sonja encountered this one-eyed guy in the previous issue. I was like, really? Did she? Because I'm pretty surprised I'm encountering him now, let alone Red Sonja. Is like, I know that.
Oh, I know that
hand
guy.
in a jar.
Yeah, I could tell that brain and water from a mile away.
And Red Sonja has a lot of, like, I'm getting too old for this shit energy throughout this comic. I was like, Red, this is your whole thing.
Yeah.
So, but it is fun. I want her to get to Mars.
Yeah. Archie is Mr. Justice, #3 from Archie Comics, written by Kenny Porter, art by Maria Sinapo. We had Kenny Porter on the show and talked to him about this
go
book.
listen to that.
So, whoa, that
Go listen to that.
Yeah, go listen to it.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, this is the third part of this premium series from Archie Comics that is treating the whole superhero universe relatively seriously. We're focusing on Betty Cooper in this issue.
Also known as Betty.
Oh,
And-
yes.
Speaking of serious, the real relationship here is, we got Betty and Archie, so just glorious choice. And, we talked a lot about it in the interview with him, so go check that out.
Go listen to it.
Pete, real quick, your copy of this book, how wet are the pages where...
How dare you, sir?
Betty is on from
How dare you? I have nothing but respect and admiration.
Yeah, were you lightly and softly kissing the comic book?
It's a great comic. You should check it out.
Wow. No, that's not a denial. I said this in the interview, but this comic does a great job of balancing the superhero action and honoring the relationships that are central to the Archie canon. Not just Betty and Veronica and Archie, but also the other characters here.
But also mainly Betty.
In this issue, it is mainly Betty, but Betty has a nice story. There's some stuff that happens in this.
She does have a great story.
That I thought was really cool, great action, and a surprising take that I didn't expect to see. So this is good.
Detective Comics 1095 for DC Comics.
Someday.
Tens of thousands of comics.
Someday. We're going to make it. We're going to make that. Written by Tom Taylor, art by Mikel Janine. In this issue, Batman is finally unraveling the mystery of Asma, I believe her name is. It's not is Asema? Something like that.
Yes, it's not as
whatever. He finds out that the people who were injecting life-giving blood into him were in fact taking it from teenagers. So he puts two and two together there. Really, really good detective work in this book.
You're such a dick. That was a harder mystery for him to solve than you might.
Sure. Yeah, there was a lot.
Plus, he loves that child blood.
Num 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 num.
Yeah. One of the things that I really loved about this book is it really seemed to pay homage to Batman by showing Batman a lot of this Batman book. I appreciated that.
Oh, wow. That's kind of a weird thing to say.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, I really appreciated the fact that he was rolling with his therapist in this one, so really got a good chance to kind of talk things out a little bit,
Because Leslie Tompkins is...
Leslie Tompkins, not his therapist.
Well, she's a therapist.
She is not.
She's not a therapist. She's a doctor. I think she's I don't know if she's a primary care physician, but she's definitely a medical doctor. Mm-hmm. I did like them riding along together. I like the conversation they have.
Seemed like she was his therapist with the questioning.
Well, and friends can sometimes
your
be
therapist is ChatGPT, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Charles Barkley.
What?
I don't know what's going on. I know I made fun of this book a bunch just now, but I do think this is one of the better issues so far because we are wrapping back around to the reveal that Joe Chill was saved by Bruce's father. I like what that does to him emotionally in this issue.
Before he shot him, just to be clear.
Yeah.
He saved him in an earlier car accident.
While he was dying. Come over here. Your fingers look burnt from the gun. Yeah, and it leaves Bruce in an interesting emotional place by the end of the issue as well.
We get to see a lot of Joe Chill in this.
Yeah.
It was
I agree.
young.
I like this.
He's looking good, JoJo.
I enjoyed myself with this. It was also interesting to see Batman kind of freeze. He has this moment where he sees Joe Chill and he's like a kid again. No, not that.
Like
freeze.
Mitch McConnell froze?
Nope. Just kind of like a second where he was a kid again and kind of, so I thought that was cool to see, him not always being this perfect being. So, yeah, I enjoyed that moment.
And I'm curious. We don't know who Asima is yet, but Bruce does have this relationship with the person who gets him his child blood. So I'm curious where that's going to go.
Mm-hmm. Don't you have a child blood guy that you go through?
It's a blood boy.
Well, and that person is Joe Chill's daughter, is what we officially find out in this issue, who he's been dating. Which
complicated.
It is. Hey,
but Joe Chill doesn't know that he has a daughter.
No, he doesn't. But Bruce knows now that is Joe Chill's daughter, and he also knows that he's been dropping pearls in that Crime Alley. You know what I'm talking about?
No, that's, put your hand down. Put your hand down.
Are you going for a high five?
I'm going for a high five. Does that work?
No.
Over?
Nope.
Oh.
It doesn't work in any way.
Cable Love and Chrome #3 for Marvel, written by David Pepose, art by Mike Henderson.
Pepose.
As you might be able to tell from the cover, if you've seen the cover, Cable's TK, why can
Techno-organic armor.
I don't know. Is out of control. He can't hold it together. But by the end of the issue, he figures out a way of doing it with a great sacrifice on the other end. Pete, you seem psyched, so go for it.
Wow, it's just a cool cover, man. This is really kind of a badass cover when you think about it.
I hate to jump in on when you say the cover's cool.
Yeah.
So I know that's like a sort of a segment for you. But there's a line over the top of the title that calls Cable Time's foot soldier. How do we feel about that? Does Cable work for Time?
Well, Time Magazine did say he is their foot soldier. So
he's Time Magazine's foot soldier.
Yeah.
He used to work for Newsweek, but I don't know, they've become kind of a rag.
There's like Time's Man of the Year, and then there's Time's Foot Soldier. It really depends on that.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yes, I believe Bradley Cooper was Time's foot soldier last year.
His new cheesesteaks are really great. Worth the wait in line.
How does Philly and the environs, since you don't specifically live there, how do they feel about that Bradley Cooper cheesesteak thing? Is that like an affront to God?
Well, I do think some people are pissed off about it because he's selling cheesesteaks in New York, and he's supposed to be a Philly guy. So, I'm sure there's some people are upset. But, hey, other people are like, hey, you got to go sell where you want to go sell. Good for him.
Peter, I have to ask, are you doing a character or are you revealing your true voice? Because you've been talking like
I had
goon.
friends who talk like that in Philly.
Yeah. Go check it out.
Yeah, but by friends, you mean Gritty, right? Your friend Gritty?
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, this was kind of a sweet love story. And, where she calls him a cowboy, which I thought was really adorable. But, I was impressed and moved by this Cable love story here.
I mean, I've said this from the beginning of this series. I really like Cable having being in love. Like, it's the one thing that Time's foot soldier has never really done. I feel like
Time Magazine's foot soldier.
Time Magazine's foot soldier.
Okay, great.
Just shortening it for Times. I do think it's funny that the main villain here. Have we met him before?
Time?
I don't think so. I think he was introduced in the first issue.
The first issue, but I mean not before the series. Like his name is Cicada. And he seems not scary, but he also is very awful to Cable and what happens with his...
Well, he's grumpy because he goes away for months at a time and then it comes out.
Yeah, I think he is probably living Time out of order as well. Like, there's a little bit of that going on here, so maybe we don't know everything that happened to Cicada to make him really hate Cable, but... I think the main romantic relationship is so strong in this series, it kind of doesn't matter. Like, villain's fine, he comes in, he's an external force, but it's really about what's happening between Cable and this other character that is the standout here, I would say.
Avery, and you know what?
She's one of Time Magazine's most powerful women.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. What a power couple. Out of Alcatraz, number 1 from Odie Press, written by Christopher Cantwell, art by Tyler Crook. This is a imagined extrapolation of what is a long-standing, maybe true event, maybe urban legend about 3 guys escaping Alcatraz. We follow the aftermath of that in this issue. Justin, this is one of your favorites.
Yeah, Justin, you like this one.
I did like this a lot. Like, this is another Christopher Cantwell pick for me, and it's just a great, like, I like we're rooted right in the reality of the actual story that happened, and then we get to follow it. It feels like in line with some Ed Brubaker work, if you're a fan of that stuff. This would be a great issue to pick up if in between reading that. I like the mysteries, I like the characters, and the reveal at the end should have seen coming, but didn't, and thought it was cool.
Yeah, I love the twists and turns you have. Of course, if you've seen the Alcatraz movie, there's some things that kind of stayed in this kind of telling of it, which is interesting. So some real true facts that are bleeding through in this story.
Yeah, you're talking about The Rock, when you say
No,
the
I'm talking about
movie.
the Alcatraz movie with...
The Rock. With Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage?
No, I'm talking about...
Ed Harris is the bad guy?
Clint Eastwood, Alcatraz.
I don't think he was in The Rock.
Great. Communication achieved.
So, anyways, there's some things that stayed, which is kind of cool. That but also some interesting twists and turns in this that are a little different. So, new stuff that I've never seen before on this story that's very famous and old.
Yeah, I will agree with everything you guys said and just reiterate that Tyler Crook is killing it on art in this book. Love the character designs, love the settings. This is a gorgeous book, really interesting noir that I'm very excited to follow further. The Sacrificers, number 15 from Image Comics, written by Rick Remender, art by Max Fumara. In this issue, the sun god comes to Earth and tries to burn it clean. Very intense and yet another upsetting issue.
That Rick Remender guy really plays with our emotions.
Really does, but things are now literally and figuratively heating up in this series in a big way. I'm curious how many more issues they have of this, because this really feels like this is starting to reach the end game.
Ooh. Yeah, and like a lot of Rick Remender stuff, I don't know where we're going. The tragic way that this unfolded, I was like, oh, this is so upsetting. I was like, I'm reading this Remender comic, so I should have expected this, but still tragic. And then still finding some little rays of hope in here a little bit that will no doubt involve a lot of horrifying battle. But great, dark, tragic series.
Another banger-ish. Love the art so very much. Such a badass story. And don't piss off a sun god. Holy crap.
Seems like a known thing.
Yeah.
Can you piss off, though? The New Gods, number 4 from DC Comics, written by Ram V, art by Evan Cagle and Bernard Chang. In this issue, as usual, we're getting a little bit of a prelude by Bernard Chang, showing us the creation of the Mother Box this issue.
Oh, man.
And then in the present, New Genesis is under attack by an enemy force, and the New Gods are fighting back against that. Meanwhile, on Earth, Big Barda and Scott Free are trying to protect this new god who has just been not born but emerged, and things pick up there. Pete,
it's sorry.
Pete called this one out.
This is just so much fun. Barda is just so badass. Great art, great action, high stakes. Amazing adventure. Art is epic in this. This is just a great combination of many things that make comics awesome. Epic cover that we got here. Yeah, I'm having an absolute blast with this. And more of this, please.
Great battle sequences. The art is really nice, sort of clean lines, usually, sort of non-Kirby-esque in a way that I didn't expect, but it's really working. I think it's very funny that Big Barda and Scott Free are constantly protecting a child from everyone trying to kill it. That's what's happening in the world, the vampire, DC versus vampires
World War
story.
V.
Yeah, World War V, DC versus vampires. It's been going on for a while. So, man, those kids are just great parents. Those guys are just great parents.
Yep.
Next up, Welcome to the Maynard, number 4 from Dark Horse Comics, written by James Robinson, art by Jay Bone. This is the final issue of the series about a magical hotel and the bellhop / detective in training who's trying to figure out a mystery there. Pete, you've been loving this series. How did you feel about the wrap-up?
Oh, this is great. I'm having such a blast with this. Continue to have one. It got a little sad. There was a little breakup there. But love the art style. Love the characters. Loved all the magic action. I think they created such a fun world in a comics stack that always is dark, and this has been such a bright spot for me, and I love the art and the tone. It's just been such a great read week after week, and I think just super impressed with this.
I really like this as well. When we talk to these guys, they have so many more stories to tell in this world, and it feels like it's right for them to come back and do a lot of it. So hopefully they do. This was a really fun story. More, please.
The Herculoids, number 2 from Dynamite, written by Tom Stagowski, art by Craig Rousseau. This is continuing the adventures of the animated series about a very weird planet and the people who are trying to invade it. I know you guys were pretty hyped about the first issue here. How did you feel about issue number 2?
Yeah, I mean, they did such a great job with the first issue. They're like, let's run it again. You know what I mean? Let's just keep protecting this Earth or this world from all anyone or the same guy who keeps going back. But man, I'm having such a I don't care that it's similar to the first issue. I'm having so much fun. My nostalgia bath is so great. I don't want to get out. So man, yeah, this just hits all the right spots with this Herculoids comic, and I'm having a blast with it. I don't ever want it to end.
And if you're interested in taking a nostalgia bath, be sure to pick up some of Pete's nostalgia bath bombs. If you want to get clean while you're thinking about stuff from the mid to late 90s, definitely get one of Pete. They come in a lot of different flavors, from Third Eye Blind to Punisher and Microchip. You're going to really enjoy it.
Yeah, I got the ones actually. There was a special edition set he had that had G.I. Joe limbs in the middle. So as the bath bomb melted,
nice.
And you're kind of rubbing yourself down, you're like, ow, oh,
yep.
What's that? Oh, that's a Kung Fu grip. Pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet. That's while you're rubbing yourself down. Great. Let me ask you, does the Kung Fu grip count as a hand job, Alex? When you rub
that's a blowjob. That's actually a blowjob.
It's a Joe job, I believe.
Yeah, Joe.
G.I. Joe job.
Yeah.
Great. Let's definitely attach this conversation to our review of this comic.
And I'll tell you what, Joeing is half the battle.
It certainly is. It's sometimes the full battle, for at least 10 minutes for me anyway. Herculoids, very fun. A lot of hype for the planet Asmot.
Dude, people love this planet, bro.
Yeah, everyone's after Asmot. But I do like when we talk to these guys, another writer-artist team we talked to recently. They talked about how there were some underlying themes they were touching on here, and I liked that we're getting to some of those pretty quickly in this issue, and there is a larger story, despite the fact that these are mostly one-and-done-esque issues.
Zatanna, number 2 from DC Comics by Jamal Campbell. Zatanna has been trapped in a strange dimension by somebody named the White Lady and has a magical sword stuck through her middle.
Oh, man.
In this issue, she goes to former members of the Shadow Pact for help. And I'll tell you what, I will read literally anything with the Shadow Pact in it. That title was great, and I miss it. So,
yeah, Shadow Pact was great, dude.
Shadow Pact ruled.
Yeah, so man, good call on that.
That was good, because Shadow Pact led into Justice League Dark, right?
Yeah, eventually. I mean, there was a big space there.
There's a lot of,
Yeah, but the Shadow Pact, it was just Detective Chip, Blue Devil, Zatanna, Madame Xanadu, the rest hanging out at the Oblivion Bar, right? Together.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was just sort of like this great magical hangout comic that had such a fun tone to it. So, very nice to see elements of that back in this issue, beyond the fantastic Jamal Campbell art.
Yeah, I mean, and also a fun cover while we're talking about great art here. Yeah, a lot going down this issue. Love the art style. Loved all the action. Man, it's tough, though, when you're kind of trying to figure stuff out and you got a flaming sword stuck in you. I mean, that's got to hurt. I'm having a lot of fun with this. Also, there was kind of different art styles in this, which I thought was cool. Worked well. So, yeah, very enjoyable.
I really like the action here, and the visual worlds that Zatanna keeps falling through are really fun. And the way, you're saying, Alex, with these Shadow Pact characters, there's a familiarity here that I don't think we always get with books like this. They're really down to earth. There's some great stuff between Zatanna and Blue Devil that I thought was cool.
When I Lay My Vengeance Upon Thee, number 3 from Boom Studios, written by Gus Moreno, art by Jacob Rebelka. We are following a veteran exorcist and a newer exorcist, and they get kind of a new case, or at least a new thing that they're starting to deal with in this issue. What do you guys think about this one?
I've liked all these issues. Like, there's such a nice... The art is very expressive while being more abstract than some other comics we talk about, which is cool. And then the story, like, it touches on some darker sort of demonic stuff, but it's really about these people just being like, this job's weird, right? And they're like, yeah, I mean, it is weird. What are we going to do about this one? So it has, like, that X-Files thing of them doing a weird job but still being people.
Yeah. Creepy cover, love the art style. I think that's it's very interesting. Love the action, love the story, but the art is so creepy in all the right ways. So well done.
And last but not least, Archaic #4 from Ahoy Comics, written by Melissa
Ahoy!
F. Olsen, art by Sally Cantarino. This issue, we're getting a lot of the history of this strange island full of magical creatures that this family has moved to. We find out about a tragic event in the past.
Yeah.
I really like how this is rolling out the information in the book. It clearly is well-defined in terms of a history. I wish we knew a little bit more about the various magical creatures, because I feel like they're kind of to the side for the human characters. But the drama's good, and the writing is good, and it has a very offhand novelistic quality to it that I'm enjoying.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm also enjoying this story. It continues to be good. I love the art, and I love Gutface. The art has such a great vibe to it. Cool, crazy twists and turns. But this art rocks.
I really like the way this plays sort of high and low with high fantasy, where we have these big, scary villains, but they're also like, can I get Wi-Fi? And that's a fun mix. Unique tone. Enjoying this.
And that is it for the stack. If you'd like to support this podcast and all the podcasts we do, patreon.com/comic book club. Also, we do a live show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. To Facebook and YouTube, come hang out. We would love to chat with you about comic books. Apple, Spotify, Android, or the app of your choice to subscribe, listen, and follow the show. comicbookclublive.com for this podcast and many more. Until next time, we'll see you at the Comic Book Club.
Second Justin says goodbye, but he's getting a Joe job from Clutch.